Okay, so this Reddit thread was posted on Twitter. Let's look into it. She says, I'm on unpaid maternity leave. My husband still expects me to pay half the rent. Is this fair? Absolutely not. Period. You know, if you don't want to read anymore, if you don't want to listen anymore, that's where you can end it. Absolutely not fair. Okay, but for the rest of the thread, my husband earns 4 times more than me. I earn 68K. He earns 280K. Our rent is 2,600 a month. We've been splitting rent 50-50 since we moved in together before we got married. The arrangement did not change after we got married, and now that we have a baby, with me having zero income, so I'm relying on my personal savings. I say personal because we don't have a joint account. We are currently looking for a house, and I'm also expected to contribute for the deposit, 75% of my total savings. Is this fair? What is the best way to approach this? A few things to highlight. Utility bills used to be split 50-50, but since I stopped working, he pays for them. Since there's no joint account and he doesn't give me any allowance for baby stuff, not for his baby, but just baby stuff, like it's her baby. Okay, I ended up buying most of them. The baby is only 4 months old and breastfed exclusively. He pays for most of the groceries and dine out. If I go out by myself, I have to pay, so I try not to. He funds our overseas travels once a year to visit his family. We don't have any loans or debt. She is being financially abused, and the best way to approach this is to divorce because they are legally married, and she'll probably come out better and not have to spend her savings in this unfair manner. She definitely should not move into a house with him because that's going to eat up more of her savings. This does not sound like a productive reciprocal relationship. Okay, so this person says this is financial abuse. Start charging him for childcare and cleaning services. Even when you return to the workforce, you should not be paying half. My wife would charge me for sex if we had an arrangement like this. Splitting rent when married is horrible. He makes 4 times what you do. Tell him you're charging him rent for the time his child was in your uterus in the birth pain. He's an idiot. This person says she should charge surrogacy fees while she's at it, but it's her child, not their child, so he probably won't pay those fees. This person said, I would charge my husband for being in the same room as me if we had an arrangement like this. Every word that he said that I had to listen to would be extra, and every word I said would be a premium charge because I'm a delight. Someone says, you do seem worth every penny. And she says, thank you very much. Um, at this point, their relationship is very much transactional like this, even though she's playing. But yeah, definitely sounds like a transactional relationship that she is getting the terrible end of. Okay, so this person says what I said earlier. Absolutely, this is wildly unacceptable. It would likely be cheaper and easier to be a single parent. He's financially abusing you. And then someone else responds with, at least he'd be required to pay child support. And this part aggravated this person. He doesn't give me any allowance for baby stuff. She says, this aggravated me, correlating buying things for his child as giving the OP a baby allowance. Take him to court and get that child support OP. Yeah, this relationship doesn't seem particularly long lasting. It sounds fairly terrible. How you gonna make so much money and then expect someone, your partner, your spouse, to come out of their savings? This is terrible. Now let's talk about what they were saying on Twitter. This woman who posted says 50-50 men only want to go 50-50 when it benefits them. I've said this over and over again. It does not serve you women in any way. You will only end up splitting his responsibilities while maintaining 100% of yours. If your man doesn't want to be a man, find one who does. Okay, some of the comments under her post. This woman dead ass married a man and had his child while keeping finances separate and splitting bills. Crisis levels of decision making among women these days. And then the person who wrote the Twitter says, this is also why the concept of making women scared of their fertility and age is promoted by men and detrimental to women. It forces women to make decisions out of fear instead of logic. Absolutely. Don't just jump into this stuff with men. It only benefits men. This person says, my ex-husband used money as a form of control, and I'll never put myself into that situation of helplessness again. I'm remarried and we each have our own bank accounts and it works so well for us. This next person says, don't understand the point of separate finances when married. Towards the bottom, this person says, didn't need to read past the heading to know it's not fair. Then read the first paragraph and it was more than confirmed. Exactly. We don't need to belabor the point. This is unfair. It's terrible. She's getting the terrible end of the stick. She's using her savings for their family, and he is able to pocket the rest of his. Terrible, terrible setup. You guys go ahead and weigh in, though. Okay, so this Reddit thread is a doozy. This just goes to show how integrity, being a person of your word, is important, and how it could really be a slap in the face if you thought that you had better trust between the two of you. Okay, let's just read it. So this woman, at first she put it in the Am I the A-hole thread, but they made her put it in the True Off My Chest subreddit. Okay, so she says, I finally got the courage to discuss this issue, but I'm still very embarrassed because I know that talking about and discussing money is frowned upon, and I agree that I'm not entitled to anything I didn't work for. I live by this and have since I was 16 been my provider, even though I come from a stable and well-off family with loving and supportive parents. But being independent has always been priceless to me. I started my company when I was 26. I'm 42 now, and it thrived until COVID, when it almost went into bankruptcy, but now it makes good living, but nothing as it did before. For me, besides having to let go great employees and the fear of losing my pride and joy, my company, the monetary side never bothered me because I have made good savings and I always adjust well to situations living within my limits. Why this long intro? Just to paint a picture of why my partner's betrayal is more about trust and love for me than the monetary aspect. I have not succeeded to make people around me understand this, however, because when I told my family that I want to break up with him over his will, they called me the a. Okay, so this is what she says. I'm 42, he's 53. We've been together since 2009, living together since 2011. We are compatible in everything, and the love I have for him has never wavered. We both make a good living, and we have since 2015 bought our beautiful penthouse that we love very much. Around the same time, we started to think about the unpleasant things like death, etc. And since we are each other's family, we wrote wills that we inherited each other because we thought that that one leaving earlier could be in peace, knowing the other would not have to worry about moving or lowering their standards. At the time, I made 2 to 3 times more than him. He was very supportive and loving during COVID, and he made me feel I could just sit out without worrying about contributing to our living just to keep the company afloat. For a year, I didn't take a salary, and I used my savings, but he made the bigger contribution to the household. After COVID, now, both with the changes in my economy and the advancement in his career, he makes double what I make. We discussed our living situation and if we needed to downsize, but we did the math, and honestly, we don't even spend half of what we make. So it's all good. During my Christmas deep cleaning of the apartment, I stumbled upon his new will made in 2022, where he only leaves me 10% and 10% to his mother, something we already agreed on. The rest goes to his sister and her family. I was shocked because we never talked about this, and he never told me. He is still my sole heir, besides the 10% we were leaving to our mothers. His sister and her husband fell on hard times due to her getting fired of her high paying job due to gross misconduct and her husband's job being lost due to COVID. And it turned out that they had accumulated lots of debt throughout the years. In no means, however, are they poor. They just don't have the means they had before. In fact, they are way more well off than any of my siblings, but never has it occurred to me or my family that they would inherit me the same way I didn't expect to inherit them. So I'm not exactly sure where they are for her to write that way, but okay. She says, I feel nauseous. I want to leave him. I feel betrayed. The thought makes me so hurt. Not only how unfair it is, but how he hid it from me. I love him and I could just ignore this and change my will in secret too to make mine much more deserving siblings my heirs and leave him crumbs. But I don't know. My heart is broken. What do you think? This is about integrity. This is about integrity and being about your word. He did something in secret, and she was still going along with life thinking one way, but he was thinking something else. This is why it's very, very challenging to think that there's always consent, because consent involves being transparent. And when somebody else is not transparent, is manipulation. This even if the money is not that important, even if she could live with the 10% that he's offering, it's the principle behind how he behaved. And I think that she's right in feeling betrayed. And people saying that she's the asshole, the a hole, um, they're out of pocket because they're not the ones that have been betrayed by this. Her trust has been betrayed. Okay, so this person says, you said you both did the wills to be in peace so you don't have to worry about moving and leaving the other to lower their standards. And then he immediately took this away without telling you. He basically and secretly took away the security he promised you and vice versa. If you knew, then you could plan better for your future. He took a coward's way out, and it is a betrayal. I would feel sick and devastated too. Absolutely. That's the gist of it. And the person below says, and did it in secret so he could still have her money for his own security. Guy has shown how he actually feels about OP. What a cruel person. Okay, so this person says, have you discussed this with your partner yet? If not, why not? She says, I have. The fifth paragraph is basically what he said. Sorry, my post is too long and incoherent. I'm not used to writing down my thoughts. And to be honest, he basically said he didn't know I would find out. And then this person says, his answer was that he didn't know you would find out. Well, I guess he's being direct, isn't he? That must have been so horribly painful to sit there with him while he said that to you. That's just miserable. I'm so very sorry. And she responds with, it was very painful, but nobody understands me. He said that he didn't know I was money crazed. It's not that. I don't know how to talk about something related to money that isn't about the money itself. But to imagine if something happened to him and his sister shows up telling me my half of my home is hers and I'm not even prepared for it, I probably would have understood, not that he basically leaves me nothing, but I would have understood if he wanted to discuss this with me and change his will to make his sister the beneficiary. And when something happens, I'm aware of it. He was the one who talked about not wanting to lower our standards if one of us is gone, because that was hard enough. Okay, I think that we can all ascertain that this man is the a-hole and that they should break up, and she needs to recalibrate and start saving for her own retirement. She's in her early 40s. She can definitely recalibrate. You guys go ahead and weigh in. No need to keep deep diving into these comments because we have already gotten enough information. But y'all let me know what you think. I'm so glad that this was reposted in another subreddit because this definitely got deleted. Okay, let's just get into it. This man says, I think that my girlfriend left me without warning. They're both 26. He says, we've been together for 11 years. We had our problems, but we always worked it out. Some months ago, we had a huge fight about me never wanting to have intimacy, and I ended up yelling to her that she was boring, not attractive, and I didn't want to be with her. Remember, she left without warning. Okay. We had other fights about stuff she wasn't able to let go, but she went to sleep with me. We talked the next day and she was fine. She stopped fighting with me about stupid stuff and we were awesome. I've never been so happy with my relationship. She kept working and cleaning the house, and I thought she finally understood that I needed time alone. So she started letting me play my video games without complaining and going out more with her friends or to classes without me. I really thought we were doing better. But yesterday, I came home to find it empty of her stuff. She took everything, even her car, and left me a note saying she was over me, that I could keep the money I owed her as a payment for her wasting my life and time, and that she's going to her mom's. I don't know what to do. I'm planning on going to see her and talk so she can get back home with me. I need advice. What can I tell her? Edit. People are thinking I don't find her attractive. I said that because I was mad. I didn't mean it. I know she's attractive. She's pretty and has a great body. She does pole dancing, hence the classes, and takes her looks very seriously. I help making dinner and breakfast for us, so I was not always playing video games. And I make more money than her since she was working half time so she could get her art and tattoo studio work. Okay, but keep in mind, she left without warning. I want people to recognize that a lot of the times women leave mentally first. Women check out mentally. If women stop talking, if women just shut down, and you're like, oh, everything's good now, but nothing has essentially changed, she has checked out. This man is in his find out season. I'm so happy that people captured some of the things that the OP was saying because the OP was commenting. This person says, you do nothing, you screwed up, just let her go. And then the OP says, but this is the first time she acts like this. We always have fights, but she never left or got mad for more than a day. She always forgave me. I think she could do it again. Someone said, why do you want her to forgive you since you find her boring and unattractive and don't want to be with her? He says, I was mad. I don't think that. And then somebody else says, why don't you ever want intimacy with her then? He says, we've been together for 11 years. It was just not as exciting as before. Okay, then someone says, okay, so why should she stay with someone who says hurtful things because he's mad? And he says, she knew that I say hurtful things when I'm mad. I've always done it, and she always said sorry, and she understood that. She used to say she understood that that the things I say are not true. Okay, apologies without changing is just manipulation. Apologies without changing behaviors is simply manipulation. Yes, so if he doesn't change, he is not truly sorry. So she did the right thing in gathering her plan and leaving. Now for some of the comments on the post. Even though the post was deleted, the comments were still there. This person says, she is done. Leave her alone. You said enough to the point of no return. Her not complaining was not accepting. She does not care what you do anymore. And then someone says, yes, somebody suddenly not fighting with you anymore and being obedient and leaving you alone is not you winning. It's them checking out of the relationship. All the alarm bells should be going off. And this guy goes, F yeah, finally time for video games. Sometimes it blows my mind how completely dense people can be, like zero empathy. Good on her for leaving. Okay, so the OP says, I yelled at her that she's not attractive and, well, obviously I didn't mean it and find her attractive. This person says, homeboy, you think that moment will just be deleted off her mind then? Words stick, especially those were yelled at you and you confirm your fears and are backed up by your actions. It's one thing to approach the subject of lacking intimacy with mutual respect and care for each other, and another to do whatever the F OP was doing. And then this person says, exactly. The fact that his bliss was her giving up on the relationship speaks volumes. And then what I circled. Women usually check out without men even noticing. Absolutely. And this is the last screenshot I took. Men never realize when we stop arguing about stuff we used to consistently be upset about. We've already decided to leave and don't care to give any more energy to the situation. And then this person says, yeah, he hasn't a clue why she left, but I bet she told him 100 times. He wasn't listening, or if he vaguely heard her over the noise of his video games, he didn't take her seriously. Now, the part that I want to end on is this. Yep, the opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. If I hate you, I still care. If I'm indifferent, it's over, mate. Absolutely. Once somebody doesn't care anymore, that there's no coming back for that. Do not resuscitate. DNR, do not resuscitate. It's over. There's nothing he could say to her. You guys go ahead, chime in. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.